What is up, y'all? Bacon here. Another beautiful day in Germany. So a typical discussion I stumble across is whether purchasing properties cash is a good idea or a bad idea. This is a more of an overall discussion about debt and whether there's such thing as good debt or if it's just all bad debt. I know there's plenty of people out there like Dave Ramsey who believe all debt is bad and you should be, for the most part, paying cash. And that works for some. There's plenty of successful people out there that do believe in maintaining little to no debt. In my opinion, I don't agree. I think there's certainly good debt, there's obviously bad debt, and what I kind of consider like a gray area or an acceptable debt, which I'll explain in just a little bit. If you like this video, if you just have your own opinion on debt and would like to share, or you just disagree with me, smash the like button, subscribe, and comment. Cheers. Now, in December, I purchased a 3-unit property with a partner. It's not huge and it wasn't that expensive, but it's in the perfect location. The rented units are well below market value. 2 of the units need a full rehab, and fortunately one of them is vacant. Along with all that, it has a great ARV, or after repair value. While speaking with another one of the investors that I work with, he asked why I didn't just buy it cash. He's a big Dave Ramsey, all cash kind of guy, so I knew where the conversation was going. So we got into a very short conversation on why I believe not all debt is bad, and if I can make money on debt, then why not? He eventually did start to see where I was coming from, that all debt isn't that bad, and being all cash is kind of just playing it safe in my opinion. Not that that's a problem, it's just a personal financial decision, so do you. As I've gotten older, become more financially successful, I've started accepting a little bit more financial risk. If you play your cards right, you can minimize risk. There's always going to be risk, it's always going to be there, but you can certainly minimize it by doing the right amount of research and having the right knowledge on the business or property that you're looking to purchase. As for debt itself, first, there's bad debt. Everybody knows what that is. If you have excessive credit card bills because you're trying to live beyond your means. A car payment for a car that's more expensive than you can actually afford. Or same thing with the mortgage and rent. Maybe you can barely afford your house or that apartment you're living in. Short-term loan with a super high interest rate for who knows what. I don't know, maybe you purchase the rims to go with your car. Bad debt is really just anything that's the super high interest rate. I think if you're being charged anywhere from 10% up, it's not good debt. You should pay it off and get rid of it. If you have a car that's the same price as you make annually, that's bad debt. If your mortgage or your rent are the majority of your monthly income, stop it. It's bad debt. Also, you yourself can be your own form of bad debt through poor purchasing or financial decisions. Just because you managed to save up a few $1,000s doesn't mean you should go out and buy that new gaming console, Xbox, whatever the new Xbox is, or some designer purse. A guy I work with told me a great decision maker for major purchases. Now, I am habitually not a big spender, but his statement did make a ton of sense. If you're looking to make a substantial purchase, first think to yourself, would you and could you buy 2 without thinking about it? You may have the few grand that you need to buy whatever you're looking at, but could you buy 2 and not even think about it? No? Move on. It's not for you at this moment. Keep saving, invest that, say, 10 grand in something with a return, and come back in a few years after you've stepped up your game and make that purchase, because now you're not even going to think about it. You'll just throw that money down and move on about your day. Next, acceptable debt. That's just debt I personally don't feel is worth going out of my way to pay off. The reason it's acceptable is because the fees and the interest rates are low enough you could make more money off of investing the money in something like a real estate or a business venture that'll create cash flow and almost, if not more important, huge tax breaks. A good example of acceptable debt is low interest rate federal student loans, and that's a huge one in the US. Say you have $50,000 in student loans at 1% interest and you manage to save up $50,000. Well, why pay off the student loan that's only charging you 1% interest when you could invest that $50K in something like real estate and make 6 to 10% return on that $50K? If you invest right and do your research, You could use the cash flow of the investment to make the minimum monthly payments of the loan and still pocket the rest. That doesn't even include the tax breaks that you'll receive by your investment. So what's really the point in paying off those student loans or whatever really low interest rate debt you have? Finally, good debt. And that's a tough one for a lot of people to swallow because we're all raised to believe all debt's bad. But that's definitely not the case. Poorly managed debt, yes, that's bad. But if you do it right, you can easily make money through the use of debt. I'll use the 3-unit building I purchased in December as a nice little example. I'm going to round the numbers to make it a little easier to follow, but these are really close to the actual numbers of the property. Let me put my drink down for this one. So, I purchased the property for $200,000, which means I put down $50,000 or 25% of the purchase price. This means I have $150,000 in debt at roughly 3.25% interest. If I wasn't going to completely remodel the 2 larger units, I could rent all 3 units out at roughly $30,000 annually. The debt on $150,000 is about $1,000 a month or $12,000 annually. Bills for the building are give or take $6,000 and taxes $3,000. So out of the $30,000, we'd be cash flowing $9,000 a year. Is that a lot of money? No. But if I put the bare minimum of $50,000 into it, that's an 18% return. $9,000 divided by $50,000, 18%. That's easy and that's a very good ROI. Imagine you paid cash, $200,000 all in. Great. You get to keep that $12,000 because, well, now you don't have a mortgage, so your cash flow will increase to $21,000 annually. But that drops your return from 18% down to 10.5%. $21,000 divided by $200,000. Easy. Cool. 10 plus return is great, especially when you compare it to the stock market or savings accounts. But now you've parked all $200,000 on a single purchase, returning $21,000. So what if you took that $200,000 and you invested it across, say, 4 properties that each cost $200,000? You'll be putting down the same 25% of the purchase price or $50,000 for each property, which they'll each produce cash flow of roughly 9% at give or take 18% return. That means your yearly income will actually increase to $36,000 instead of just $21,000 because you accepted 4 mortgages at 3 to 4% each. On top of making $15,000 more just because you got 4 mortgages, you'll also be able to claim depreciation on 4 properties. You'll be able to claim interest paid on 4 properties. Tax breaks and depreciation are huge bonuses when investing in real estate and other businesses. Why depreciate 1 property when you can depreciate across 4 properties and get more money back on your taxes at the end of the year? I'm no CPA, but that makes total sense to me. I mean, yeah, the banks are making money because, well, they're the banks and you got a loan from them, but you're paying them back while still making the spread on the $150,000 for each property you purchased. And what's better than making money off the bank? It's what the rich people do. So, don't be afraid of a little debt. If you do it right, do enough research, and invest properly, you'll make even more money through debt. If you like this video, if you learned something new or learned something you didn't know or have a request or a suggestion, just remember, like the video, subscribe, and comment. Cheers.